Okay, everyone. Well, welcome back for another amazing week of What Is It Like to Be You? With me, your host, Souraya Christine. And I am here with another amazing guest who I just recently met on social media. So I am super excited to talk with her. And she happens to be a medical doctor, which, by the way, I love because y'all know I've been in healthcare for 30 years. And so anytime I get to talk to other people in healthcare, I love it. So this is the beautiful Dr. Jade. And so I am going to, in a moment, allow her to introduce herself, tell you all about her practice and what she has going on in the great city of Las Vegas, Nevada. But as you guys know, this podcast is designed to bring the human back to humanity. So we are trying to figure out how we can bring some closeness rather than more division. And so that is why we are here. And with that said, how this works, Dr. Jade, is I am going to ask you a plethora of questions. You, however, are going to get to choose which questions we ask based on numbers. So I am going to ask you numbers 1 and numbers 35. 1 at the beginning, 35 at the end. Your job is going to be to choose numbers between 2 and 34 as we go along. Does that seem fair?
Got it.
Awesome. All right. So please tell us a little bit about you, your practice, what you have going on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Dr. Jade Norris. I go by Dr. Jade. I'm a board certified family medicine physician, wellness and weight loss specialist. I own a private practice in Las Vegas called Nspire Primary Care. This is my hometown, and my childhood dream was to open a private practice in my hometown. So I'm thankful that God blessed me to do that. And the main thing, our goal here and my why in primary care is to help our patients transition to a healthier lifestyle and a healthier weight, and to help our members prevent and reverse chronic diseases. And so that is what I absolutely love. It's such a joy helping our patients reverse chronic diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and obesity, and
Wow.
live longer and live healthier. And so that's what we do. That is my goal and my dream. I'm also the host of the She Inspires podcast, where we busy women talk about business and wellness and balancing all those hats. And
Wow.
so it's just really a joy to be living my dream and to help people.
That is a joy because imagine how many people aren't and don't get to live their dreams for whatever reasons, right? We can come up with a list of reasons, but I think that it's incredible that you are actually living out what you dreamt to do as a young girl. Like that just is amazing to me. And that you're doing it in such a large way because, like, for me, I have diabetes and I would love to reverse it. Like, that is really my goal right now, and I have not made the proper steps to do so, right? Like I still eat kind of crazy sometimes. I still, drink kind of crazy sometimes, like I just drank an orange juice for breakfast this morning, which I should not be drinking. But that still it's hard to get into the space of doing everything properly consistently. So I'm grateful that we have people like you to be able to help us to do that. So my prayer is to be able to make you mine.
Yes, I would love to help you with reversal. Reversal isn't talked about enough, and it's mostly
Mm-mm.
because most physicians are not trained in the prevention and in lifestyle medicine. And also because in an insurance-based office, most physicians just don't have the time. And to help people with a personalized wellness plan like we do here at Inspire Primary Care with our Inspired Health Method, that just takes more time. And so that's one of the main reasons we do the concierge style, membership style, so we can actually have the time for that wellness focus and reversal.
Well, I love that. And I definitely am going to talk more with you offline about those services. So thank you for that. So, with all of that being said, I'm going to ask you question number 1, which says, when you look into the mirror each morning, what is it that you see?
Oh, wow. I see a woman I'm proud of. I see a woman I'm proud of. So I've come a long way. The journey has not been easy. I was like the least likely to be a doctor, although I've been saying I
Wow.
wanted to do that since I was 4 years old. I really struggled with test taking. My journey was really hard because of that. I had many setbacks because of that. Um, just lots of challenges. We all have challenges in life, but I've had a lot of them. I share them quite a bit so that I can help inspire others through the things I've overcome. But when I look at myself today, I see a woman I'm proud of, a woman that prioritizes God, prioritizes time with her family, her husband, who's wonderful, her children, who are wonderful, Carlos, Ava, and Aaliyah, and who actually is trying to do good and use my gifts for ministry and to glorify God through the gifts he's given me. So I really feel proud of that.
and he is making the way for you to do it. I'm so excited right now. And you just made me think of something else. So there is this event that I used to do every year in April. April is National Child Sexual Assault Awareness Month,
Wow.
amongst other things. And I used to do this event called How I Became. And
Mm,
if I ever bring that back, which I really want to do, I'm just super busy right now, but I want to bring it back. And so it was a panel of women like yourself, not just women, but people like yourself who have made it past struggles out of inner cities, out of, poverty, out of disabilities, out of struggles, yours with the test taking. Imagine a young girl looking at you on a panel and listening to you tell the story of how difficult it was for you through schooling because of test taking. And though imagine her dealing with that same kind of issue and seeing you in this coat, you know, with this practice, and just oh God, I'm getting goosebumps. So
yeah.
if I ever do bring that event back, I would really love to have you on the panel because wow.
Let me know. I'd love to.
Okay.
Mentorship is so important. I've had some amazing mentors along my journey, and that's something I'm always committed to doing. So definitely reach out.
I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, now it is your turn. Pick a number 2 through 34.
I'll go with 7. 7's my number.
I don't know why I had a feeling you were going to say that. 7 is also my number. Okay, which says, what? Oh, you just kind of told us. What's a personal struggle you face that might surprise people who think they know you well?
So let me think of another. Most people have heard me talk about struggles with tests taken through my medical journey. A personal struggle, something that people may not know. My husband knows well, but I struggle with getting worried. Like I am a person who likes to be in control, know exactly what I'm very type A, right? I like to know exactly what's going to happen. I like to plan things out and be like, yep, that went just as planned. But I really have to remind myself that everything is in God's hands and be intentional about not worrying and not being like, oh my gosh, how's this going to get done? And how's that going to get done? And how am I going to, so not letting my mind go down that path. But that's something because, and I say that many people may not know that because people often compliment me like, oh man, you make this look easy and you just go live and you just do this. And I'm like, I don't want to do any of these things, but
Yeah.
I do it anyway, although it's uncomfortable. So yeah.
I love that answer because I have been a worry wart since I was a kid. Like I worried about stuff I had absolutely no business worrying about, growing up. And one of the things that I've learned, I've had a really rough last 2 years of my life. And one of the things that I've learned in this process is not to worry so much about the things that I can't control because I too am a control freak, right? And so if there's something that I'm not able to fix, because I'm also a fixer, that's kind of a part of that. And if it's something that I'm not able to fix, it would send me on like this whole spiral. And
Mhm.
so in this season though that God has me in, it's like if you can't do something about it, like why are you letting it keep you up at night? Like what it
Yeah.
doesn't even make sense if you think about it, right? Like if you really think about the fact that there's literally not a single thing that you can do to fix that problem right there in this moment, why do we let that kind of stuff haunt us so deeply?
Yeah.
If it's something that you can control, then do the thing, do whatever it is to fix it. But if you can't in this moment, sleep, go to bed. you
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, let's pick another number.
17.
So,
We'll get the 7s out the way. I don't have any other ones after this.
so let me tell you, I have to tell you really quick. My number is 717, and the reason is because it's my middle child's birthday. And
Oh,
so every time we see 717 on anything anywhere, we always snap a picture of it and text it to the other one.
wow.
So
My
that
oldest daughter, Ava, is 7'7".
oh wow.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Okay, 17 says, how do you hope to challenge people's perceptions of you or people like you?
Oh, I love that. Challenge people's perceptions. I feel like a lot about me is an oxymoron when it comes to what I do and who I'm called to be in medicine. So I am not what people typically think of when they think of physician. And I heard every excuse growing up from other people as to why it probably wasn't going to be the right field for me. From things that were, really made sense on paper, like, oh, you're not a good test taker, so you're not going to be a good physician because there's lots of tests you have to pass, to
Wow.
things that were silly, like, oh, you're too pretty to be a doctor. Only ugly women are doctors. I mean, I heard a
What?
gamut. Yeah, I heard a gamut of reasons that it just wasn't for me. So I think just being me and being true to who I am, you're going to get the curls or the braids, you're going to get the curves, you're going to
I
get
love it.
the personality, you're going to get professionalism, you're going to get evidence-based medicine, but you're also going to get someone who is free and loves to be a mom and loves to have fun and loves to work out and
And the pretty girl.
all of that. Yeah. And praise God. Yes. Thank you. And so, yeah, you're going to get all of those things. And that's a big part of what private
Wow.
practice and owning Nspire Primary Care has given me, is the freedom to be that unapologetically. And
Yeah.
so versus being in a system where I would have to, watch what I post on social media
Yeah.
and all of these things, I can just be me because I'm my own
Yeah.
boss, if you
Because it's
will.
my business and it's mine and I can do what I want.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can
I
be
mean,
the
within
most
reason,
authentic.
obviously. We can't go crazy because we
Absolutely.
still got.
Yeah, but I can be the most authentic version of me, which
Yes.
is a blessing. And everyone can't necessarily say that in their career. So I'm thankful for that privilege.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. Okay. Pick another number.
Next number, I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
9.
Okay. 9 says, can you describe a time when you realized that you had an unconscious bias and how have you addressed that?
Oh, unconscious biases are really good in medicine, in particular, because we have so many. Here's what I had to unlearn. I had to actually unlearn a lot of what is taught in medicine, actually.
Mm.
So the way we are taught in medical training is biased medicine, unfortunately. Now, there may be aspects of it that's evidence-based, but it builds bias into physicians. And unfortunately, it's a lot of race-based biases.
Yeah.
So, for example, the way we're trained and the way we're asked questions is, you have a 54-year-old Black man who walks in and, has chest pain, or we'll say he has groin pain. And so you automatically are supposed to think like, oh, he might have HIV. He's probably sexually active. He's probably homosexual. Like, you're supposed to automatically put these different
Whoa.
clues together to make a quick differential diagnosis, and then think of which quick labs and referrals to plug them into, because an insurance-based system needs physicians to make decisions fast and get
Yeah.
the referral or the medication out as quick as possible so you can go to the next patient as quick as possible. But what we know is patients do not follow books, and that it's important for physicians to not just look at a person and just assume we know what they are, who they are, what they're all about, regardless of what comes out of their mouth, right? But we
Yeah.
are trained that way. So
Wow.
I had to unlearn a lot of the race-based medicine, again, which is the main reason of private practice, because I can be in a system where I can think and have the time to practice my full scope and have the time to hear people's whole story, right? Instead of just being like, oh, I got to get in and out of here within 8 minutes. So what's the most likely thing this could be, and what pill and referral can I quickly give for that? So yeah, I had to unlearn a lot of that. And thankfully, it's been easier than I think it may be for other people who may not have my diverse background.
Wow, that is so heavy to me and so true because as a person in healthcare and definitely not anywhere near that level, but just in seeing it from the perspective that I've been able to see it from, I'm just thinking back like, whoa, like, yeah. Like, wow. I'm speechless right now. But do you think that that is potentially why there are often so many misdiagnoses and things like that because of that
I
kind of
think
turn and burn and
yeah, the main thing is the time in the healthcare system that we're in Las Vegas, more so than the biases. But we all have our own biases we have to unlearn, right? Just as being human beings and growing up in different households, right?
Mhm.
But the system of how America has created our insurance-based healthcare systems and the churn of it, the only way they make money and have profitable billion-dollar companies is by getting people in and out as fast as possible, double, triple booking the schedule for physicians. That is how they generate money in the primary care office,
Yeah.
because you're not doing big procedures like a surgeon, right? And so that just decreases the quality of primary care right off the bat. It decreases the quality that even a great physician can't be a great physician within 8 minutes.
Wow.
So Yeah, that is the main problem. And that's the solution that I had to go into when it came to just getting out of that system and opening Nspire Primary Care.
So what made you choose to do that? Is it for that reason? Like, what was the decision making factor that was like, you know what? I'm done with this. Let me go do this.
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I think built in, I'm an entrepreneur at spirit. I'm always like, what business can I make out of that? You know, as a kid, I was like, okay, you like that girl? Well, come here. I can be a matchmaker, you know?
Matchmaker?
Yeah, they called it Jade's Fired Hotline. They would come and I would matchmake them and they would pay me with their like, we had like a treasure box of gifts.
What?
Yeah, so I had elementary school businesses. So I just love to think and create and be like, oh yeah, I can monetize that, you
You
know.
could probably do that now, Dr. J, because some of us single folks, we, could use some help.
That
Just
is
saying.
funny. That is funny. So that part was built in. I knew as growing up, I wanted a private practice. I just assumed it would be an insurance-based practice because that's all I knew. Now, once I was out of training and in training, and I saw how our healthcare system operates, especially in residency, I was like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I am burnt out. Everyone around me is burnt out. We can't eat. We have to get in and out. They train me to cut people off. They train me to put your hand on the doorknob. Like, they train me that, hey, if you're in there too long, the patient's talking too long, don't worry, your nurse will knock on the door and help relieve you. Like, this is how you're trained. Okay.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
I was just like, this is terrible. I'm a terrible doctor. I'm being rude. I have to cut people off or I get fired. So what other options are there? And is me just doing this for like 10 years and then just becoming a real estate investor? Is that going to be my exit plan? Because I can't, it sucked the joy out of medicine, quite literally. So
Wow.
I knew that there had to be a different way. And thankfully, I heard about insurance or membership-based practices.
Mhm.
Some people call them concierge. Some people call them direct primary care, but the main thing is it's membership style. There's no insurance billed in the office. That way you can actually put the quality back into the care. So yeah, and I learned about that style of practice while I was a resident, my first year of residency or my second year of residency. And so then during residency, I put my business plan together and did the preparations necessary to open my practice straight from residency. So I
Wow.
think God just aligned it in the right time for me to learn about this style.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, that is amazing. I love your story. It's
Thank you.
amazing to me. Okay, let's pick another number.
16. So 9/16 is my wedding date coming up. So we're
Oh
16
goodness,
next.
happy
Thank you.
anniversary. 16 says, can you share an experience that made you realize you had more in common with someone different than you had originally thought?
That's interesting. More in common with them than I originally thought. I can't really think of anything off the top as one person in particular. I think what I've learned a lot in entrepreneurship and being in rooms with a lot of entrepreneurs and being in rooms with a lot of entrepreneurs that are non-melanated and predominantly male.
Mhm.
I've learned a lot about what separates people who really succeed versus people who don't. And a lot of times I think it can be assumed that, oh, it's privilege or it's white privilege or it's, your daddy just gave you money or whatever. And some of that may be true, generationally in this
Right.
country, that may be true. However, there are certain characteristics that I've really studied in people that are successful and people that don't look like me that are successful. And it's that waking up at the crack of dawn, and doing your fitness and, having your prayer time if that's important to you. It's, the grinds of it all or the structure of the hard work over time that regardless if they look like you or not, or that bias to that, there are certain things required of people who are successful. And so I think I've learned a lot about that in being in rooms
Mm.
that I didn't know earlier in my training where throughout my training I've been one of the few of color in a room of predominantly white, predominantly male physicians. And so I've just gotten a lot more insight into the work etiquette, especially being on the entrepreneurial side.
Mhm. Do you think that you had already, like, once you started to, like, put this list together, right? Like, checking these boxes that you made, not have known. Do you feel like you had already been displaying those qualities though that kind of got you where you are today? Or do you think that it's stuff that you were like, oh, like aha moments, and then you started to incorporate them into who you were becoming, or a little bit of both?
Both, definitely
Yeah.
both, right? I always read books, but there are certain books I read now because of the rooms I'm in that I wouldn't have picked up back then. Back then, I may have predominantly read fiction books, right? But now you really won't catch me reading a fiction book. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's a person's preference, but most of what I see busy, successful people reading are going to be those nonfiction, self encouragements type of books and podcasts. They're learners, they're lifetime learners. And so I've always been a lifetime learner, but what I'm learning and what I'm listening to and where I'm putting my attention has, of course, matured over time.
I love that. I would love to learn more about that. See, I need to be in spaces like this
Yes,
more.
absolutely.
I love it. Okay, let's pick another number.
35 was the top number, right?
35 is mine.
Oh,
You can go
35
up
is
to
yours. Okay.
34.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do 21.
21. What life experiences have had the most significant impact on shaping who you are today?
Oh, so many. That's tough to pick one, but I would say motherhood has to be one of the top.
Okay.
I mean, my daughters, Ava and Aaliyah, have taught me so much. One, they're my little mirrors. I get to see how I act. I'm like, wow, I thought that was really cute when I do it, but it's not. It's
No,
actually
it's
not,
not.
you know?
Yeah.
But they've taught me patience. They've taught me flexibility when I talked about, being a more rigid person and, thinking about or overthinking and things like that. They've taught me how to go with the flow, how things,
Mhm.
they're going to do what they want to do. Toddlers are going to toddler. And so it's just motherhood has definitely changed me. They turned me into a morning person, just
Wow.
all kinds of beautiful things that have come out of motherhood for sure.
I love that. So how old are the girls?
Yeah, Ava just turned 5 and Aaliyah will
Wow.
be 3 after Christmas.
Woo.
Yeah.
Hmm. Beautiful.
So
I'm
busy
so glad
and
that mine
fun.
are all grown. I'm old, so mine are all grown, but oh
Yeah,
my
I'm trying to
goodness.
tell them to slow down, slow down.
Yeah, and truly, because it goes so fast. I was looking at my granddaughter who is 4, and I'm like, God, you were literally just like 6 months. I don't know. I don't know what happened,
It goes
so
really fast.
yeah, it does. Awesome. We probably have time for a few more, so let's pick another
Okay.
number.
19.
19 says, how has social media affected the way that you present yourself to the world? I know you
Oh, that's
talked
such a
about
good one.
authenticity before, so I'd love to hear
Yeah.
this.
I love social media. It's interesting. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was not a social media person. I thought to myself, oh, I'm a private person, blah, blah. I think that's a misconception that you can't be a private person and also have a very
Mhm.
active social media presence and an active social media brand. And I've learned that you can have both things
Yeah.
can be true.
Mhm.
So I love that I've made so many quality connections through social media. I think it's also a misconception that it's automatically superficial and it's just people hitting the like and posting their most beautiful pictures or bragging or whatever. But I've actually, if you're actually social on social media and curious about other people and what they do and what they're passionate about and what they're an expert in and how you can collaborate with them and how you can support their efforts
Yeah.
when you have a lens like that, it really opens things up. And I've met so many amazing women in
Yeah.
particular in Las Vegas and throughout the world through social media and then have connected in person. And it's just been really amazing to open my network up through social media. It's also been amazing and powerful to be able to promote my business. When I opened my practice, Aaliyah was 8 weeks old. So she
Wow.
was a newborn. And so while I'm pumping and tending to a newborn,
Wow.
I was also pushing a button on my cell phone that got the word out about my practice to thousands of people, from the device that's in my pocket. So many things that are good. Now, there are also things that I have to, look at and parameters. I don't want everything coming into my spirit that's on the timeline, right? Like when it's politics heavy or negative things are going on in the world, I have to, just guard my mind, guard my spirit. But
Yes.
otherwise, I love a lot of things
Things
about social
about social.
media.
That's awesome. Yep, I feel the exact same way. Yep. Perfect. Okay, let's pick another one.
Let's see. How about five?
Five. Back to the beginning. If you could let the world know one thing about you that is not immediately apparent, what would that be?
One thing about me that's not immediately apparent.
It could be a
Huh,
fun fact
that
or
is tough. I think it's tough because I share a lot of things on social media. So even if I said some fun facts, they'd be like, yeah, I saw that in your stories. So something, let's see. Okay, I haven't actually shared this yet.
uh-oh.
But so I am now a homeschool mom. I'm really excited about that. And
Wow.
but we do something called a homeschool co-op. So we homeschool with a group of homeschoolers, and each parent participates in a different thing to teach. And I'm the Spanish teacher. So it's really, really fun to, yeah, that's something I haven't shared yet. And so it's really exciting. And I love
That's
it.
interesting. So you're fluent in Spanish?
I'm not as fluent as I used to be. I'm rusty,
Okay.
but I can teach elementary school Spanish for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. I took Spanish for about 19 years and I can't speak a lick.
Oh no, that's so unfortunate. How does
It
that
really is.
happen?
I don't know. I never
But
really
back
used
then
it.
you could, or you never really
I
grasped?
mean, I could get by. So I went to like gifted schools and stuff. And so we had, so I took Spanish that whole time, all
Mm-hmm.
the way up through school for the most part. And but then I never like used it or anything. So now I can understand some of it. I still recall some stuff, like I know like my numbers and my letters and like stuff like
Yeah.
that, and a few words and stuff, but I could never. And so when somebody says something to me, if they're not talking super fast, I can
Yeah.
kind of understand
Piece
some
it
of it.
together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's for sure.
yeah,
So when I was in training in the Midwest for med school, 7 years, no Spanish speaking population. So there was 7 years where I just did not use it. And that's why I say I'm not as fluent as I used to be, but I've been working on it. And part of me volunteering as a Spanish teacher is to help refresh for me too. So yeah,
that's
it's
so
really fun.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you go to school in the Midwest?
Illinois.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Cleveland. I don't know why.
No,
That's where I'm from.
Illinois.
Cool. Okay, let's do two more.
All right. How about 29?
I turn right to that page. Good. How do you stay true to yourself in a world that often tries to define you and put you in a box?
Hmm. Staying close to God, is one way because the word reminds me of who I am. So that's one way for sure. Two is doing things that I love and that make me feel most authentic. So that's going to be my personalized wellness. So prioritizing that, spending time with my family, they're always going to remind me who I am. Like no matter how much I accomplish that the
Mhm.
world glorifies as accomplishments, they're going to keep me down to earth. That I'm Jade to them, right? And
Yeah.
so being around people that love me for me, not for what I do or what I can offer,
Yeah,
is really important. And so that's why I prioritize those things.
I love that.
Everything
That's
else is just
beautiful.
bonus.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing. Because I feel like so many people fall victim to that. Like
Yeah,
they fall victim to what everybody else thinks and what the parameters, that everybody else around them wants to put on them. And
yeah.
that's so sad to me. So I appreciate you for that. And let's choose one more.
How about four?
Oh, okay. What's a misconception that people often have about you based on first impressions?
I don't know what people's first impression necessarily is. If I would assume things people have told me are that they feel like I appear confident. Um, and so one thing I share, and I have shared this on my socials, but that I'm actually an introvert. And so a lot of times, an introvert, sometimes people think that means shy. It just really means that I recharge by being alone and that a lot of social interactions drain me, right? And so I have
Mhm.
to then go back to my little alone time and refill. And so a lot of times people will say, because they see me speak on stages or they see me go into a room and network very enthusiastically in this season because I do love it now. I think the assumption is, oh, she's an extrovert. Oh, she loves, talking to people. Not that I don't, but actually the opposite is true. I still get nervous when I'm driving to networking events. I still have to pray and be like, okay, God, let it all work out. Let me not offend anybody, or let me, I like for people to be comfortable. I like to say the right thing, but sometimes I say what's on my mind. So I'm still mindful of those things, but I think what people see is like, oh wow, she just shows up and she's confident. But there's still things that happen behind the scene where I'm trusting in God in all of it.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say that, because I am like your exact twin with regard to that. Um, I speak a lot. I've written many books, and because of that, I speak a lot. I host events a lot, because there are so many passions that I have with regard to trauma and healing and mental health and all the things. And so I'm always speaking, but I am probably one of the biggest introverts. And people always assume that I'm not. I have best friend, like my best friend is always like, you love talking to people. I don't really.
Yeah.
I really don't. I really prefer to be alone. That is honestly my truth. I love being in my space by myself. I could probably 99% of the time I would be good if I was in my space by myself. But I have to do these things because I have the heart to do them, right? And these are things that
Yeah.
God placed in me to love doing. And I feel like all of the experiences that I've had throughout my life were not just for me. And I remember when I was coming through my healing, my own personal healing, I remember hearing him tell me, it's not about you. Somebody else needs to hear your story. And ever since then, I'm like, okay. And so that makes me that extrovert type of person, but I'm really not. I'm really not. And I'm not shy, but alone is where I feel safe and comfortable. And so when I do too much of that, I have to kind of retreat and, find my quiet space because I have to recharge. And so I completely understand that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's definitely that. And then I also get, well, I don't get it as much anymore, but I used to get that I'm mean. Everybody used to think that I was mean. Like just I guess from the way that I looked or whatever, or the way I don't know. And so I would get that all the time until people actually talk to me and they're like, oh, I thought you were mean. I didn't want to talk to you. I thought I'm so not. But
Funny.
I am going to ask you question number 35, and it says, what legacy do you want to leave behind, and how are you working toward it?
Wow. I love that. So I think, God gave me the name of my business for a reason. When we asked him, what do you want us to call the business, my husband and I, and he gave us Nspire. And all of our businesses are called Nspire. We have a couple of different types of businesses, but they're all called Nspire in one way or another. And that is what I hope to leave behind. I hope that I can inspire someone. I hope that they can know that they can do and be anything. Our children's book series, You Can Call Me Queen and You Can Call Me King, which is an empowerment series for children, is meant to inspire them that they can do and be anything, and to let them know that early from the start, which is what I was blessed to have my parents tell me that, but not every child has that, right?
Yeah.
And through medicine, through health, through wellness, through my social media, my Dr. Jade MD page on Instagram, I really try to show just the me, like the good, the bad, the motherhood, the marriage. And so I hope that I can inspire women to know that they can be whatever profession they're called to be, and be a mom and be a wife, and they don't have to pick, like people told me, girl, pick one. Like, you
Yes.
can't do all of that, you're one person. Well, actually we can.
Yeah.
So I hope that I will inspire. Yeah, that is really a passion of mine and what I hope to leave behind.
I love that. I love that. That is also hopefully my legacy. Can you, as we wrap up, is there since Nspire is your brand, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with as far as maybe some small nugget of inspiration toward wellness, or, overall health, or anything that you can share that you want to give away for free on this podcast?
Oh, there's so much I could share. So many things come to mind, but The main thing I would recommend, especially to women, but to men too, is the wellness component, the personalized wellness plan component. A big thing we do here at our practice at Nspire Primary Care is using my trademark method called the Inspired Health Method, which is really focusing on the nutrition, the sleep, the stress, how much you're moving throughout the day in addition to your structured exercise, and really having a easy system to have that personalized plan. But regardless if you're here at Inspire Primary Care on the Inspired Health Method or not, it's so important for all of us to have a personalized wellness plan, to really be prioritizing our self-care, to really pour into ourselves so we can serve others from the overflow and not serve others from the
Yes.
cup. So that's a big part of what I try to, one, do in my own life to be an example of that for myself. And then I try to share with others. Like when people tell me, oh, I'm stressed. Okay, what's your sleep been like? It's not that you just need a pill. It's not that you just need, some other outside stimuli. What is your sleep like? What is your stress like? Are you
Yeah.
exercising? What is your nutrition like? Is it primarily whole foods? So yeah, it may sound like, oh, it's a doctor telling me to eat healthy and move more, but there's there's a reason, right? It's evidence-based. And I try to do that in my own life, not just tell other people to do it.
I love that. And that's the authenticity piece of it, right? So I love that. So can you tell people where they can find you if they want to, if they want you to become their doctor, or also if you said you have multiple brands, if you want to talk about any of the other brands, tell us how they can find you, yeah, what they need to look for.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, of course, if you're in the Las Vegas area and you're looking for quality healthcare, primary care, and or medical weight loss services, I would love to care for you at Nspire Primary Care. We are a membership practice. It's a flat monthly or annual membership for unlimited primary care. All of my patients have my cell phone number. I'm a text or email away, and it's high quality. That's a big focus that we are very passionate about. So that's at inspireprimarycare.com. We spell Inspire with no I in the front. So because I go by Dr. Jade, my last name is Norris. So we spell Inspire with the I in the front. So without the I in the front. So NSPIRE primarycare.com. That's how you join the practice. There's a big enroll button shaped like the Las Vegas sign. You just click that to join. And our practice Instagram page is at Inspire Primary Care. Again, no I in front of Inspire. And then my main Instagram page, Dr. Jade MD, DRJADEMD. That's going to be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and you can always join the She Inspires podcast fam. And we're on all platforms for the She Inspires podcast. As far as the other things, if you have children that you're trying to encourage on Amazon, you can call me Queen and you can call me King or there. And yeah, those are most of the things. My other businesses, they're coaching consulting businesses, but those are the main places to find us. Especially if you just go to Instagram, Dr. Jade MD, that's the hub to everything. Everything else is connected through there.
Awesome. Well, I love it. And this has been such a great conversation. And I thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy day to speak with us and be here on this What Is It Like to Be You podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.